It's the first day of the trading week and Japan is already hitting the headlines following Prime Minister Shinzo Abe's victory in the upper house election. On the phone with me now for a Japanese yen-themed Targets in Focus interview is Andrzej Prevka of Commerzbank. Firstly, Andrzej, how do you think the Japanese yen has fared in recent trading?
Well, just in recent trading ahead of the elections, we saw some retracement in the yen, meaning that it depreciated slightly, but then quickly we saw after the elections went through some profit taking in dollar yen and euro yen. So it appreciated slightly in just very recent trading after the elections results came out.
Concentrating firstly on the US dollar Japanese yen, Abe's victory in the upper house election is being considered by some as dollar yen positive in the medium term. Would you agree, and how do the weekend's events shape your forecasts for this pair over the short, mid and long-term period?
I agree with this view that medium to longer term it's going to be yen negative, what has passed today. First of all, remember that Abe has, as he says himself, three arrows of his policy. The first one is the expansionary monetary policy, and the second is that he's trying to implement reforms actually to push economic growth even further. And the third one, which he's now has to put through, and which is easier now because he has a majority in both chambers, is to really attack the fundamental problems of Japan's economy, meaning, for instance, flexibility of the labor market, meaning the consumption tax rise. We think in our house that so far all the proposals he has done were nice but rather general phrases, and he hasn't presented yet very detailed measures and processes how he wants to implement such reforms. So for us, the first two arrows he has already in place, meaning an expansionary monetary policy by the Bank of Japan and more fiscal spending, mean that in the medium to longer term we will see a higher debt and a weakening yen in Japan. So for us, it is clear that we stick to our view that we're going to see a weaker yen over the next couple of months. And for the end of the year, we have a forecast in dollar yen at 115, and at the end of next year, 125, meaning a depreciation of the yen over the medium term.
With this yen spike still in action in current trading, what can we expect from the euro Japanese yen in the coming months?
Well, basically almost the same, because we think that the same picture will come through against the euro. Maybe not that strongly compared to the US dollar, because we have to take into account ECB monetary policy and Fed monetary policy. And we expect the Fed monetary policy to at least more focus on a tapering of quantitative easing 3, meaning speculation rising towards autumn that they're going to reduce the QE3 volumes, and that will push the US dollar higher and support it. On the other hand, we still have an expansionary ECB policy, and it's going to remain expansionary for the foreseeable future. So we expect the yen to weaken also against the euro, but maybe not at such a strong extent as compared to the US dollar. And our year-end forecast, at least for the moment, is 143 in euro yen, and end of next year 150.
Those traders favouring Aussie dollar Japanese yen will have been disappointed Sunday following the suggestion that the dual push of an Abe victory and the RBA appearing less dovish could already have priced into trading action. Where do you see this pair headed?
Well, actually, don't forget that there's still a huge majority of people expecting the RBA to cut rates in August. That means that for the moment, the upside potential in the Australian dollar is limited. So it's rather an Aussie story than a yen story, actually panning out in the Aussie yen cross. However, personally, I think that over the medium term, people will realize that actually Australia is a good economy. Sure, they have problems, but basically they, from a fundamental point of view, have strong underlyings. They have sound public finances, they have strong consumption, they have an economy that is yes, divided into two parts, from one hand mining, other hand manufacturing, exports, and other sectors, but they still have a growing economy. They don't have a huge debt level. So for me, it's quite clear that over the medium term, the Aussie will regain ground, and so I see Aussie yen moving higher as well, so the yen losing ground against the Australian dollar.
Anjay, thank you very much. For more info on the Japan story, why not take a peek at Dear McDermott's press review today? All that and more on Dukascopy TV.